Hi, welcome into Spirit Talk TV. I'm your host, Vicki Miller. Super excited about today's show. We're going to be chatting all about pets. I love pets, been the voice for pets for over 20 years. Not only have I been doing readings, I've been doing healings on pets, also all kinds, every single thing. So I'm going to be chatting about the show, chatting about everything, how to get your pets healthy and happy. I can help with every single thing when it comes to pets. And I already posted on here for you guys that are watching me live right now. I will be reading some pets, but post them here underneath comments. I need to see your pets' pictures, and I'll pick some to choose from. I already saw my whole Facebook lit up here, but this is where they need to be posted so I can see them right now as I'm going here live. Let's just dive right into pets. I love pets. I love being the voice for pets. My own self, my own story of when I became a pet psychic, pet healer. I was teeny tiny. I was probably like even 3 or 4. I grew up in Ohio with got tons of pets, dogs, cats. I even had a chinchilla. I remember, yeah, I had some kind of crazy animals. Anyways, I would start just feeling things in my own body as I grew up, like my dog, or I just get these premonitions of things kind of happen. Hey guys, you can't post pics? Oh, you can't post them here? All right, so maybe put your dog's names or your cat's names and tell me next to it if you can comment, put your dog's name and what it is, or your cat's name, and if it's a dog or cat, and I can do those. I did see some that you guys already posted on my Facebook, so maybe I can pull it up here actually on my phone. I did not know, sorry about that, did not know you couldn't do them here listening to me live. This is going to be later a podcast though. So anyways, as I started working with animals, I started very young age, and it was just very easy for me to connect and communicate, just as it is me being a psychic medium for people. So my gifts started evolving when I was teeny tiny, and I didn't even know it. I just thought that everybody could connect with the pet. I remember even growing up, I grew up on a lake, and I remember even trying to heal a fish. I must have been like 6 years old, giving this fish breath to breath, this fish is like floating on the lake, and here I am trying to heal a fish. So I became an energy healer, a pet healer at a very young age, not even knowing that's what I was doing, right? So my story goes, as I continue to grow up, I just connect really easy with pets, and I would feel the same thing in my body as they feel. So if they have pain, even to this day, if something is going on with the pet, I will feel it in my own body. I will be able to even see through their eyes. I'm also a medium for people, so I'm also a medium for pets too. I will be able to see what they see. And pets are amazing. They are so spiritual. They are so connected to the spiritual world that I've learned a lot from pets and being a pet reader for all these years too. So I'm going to talk all about this today. The questions that I've been asked for, I mean, I've worked with thousands of pets. I've worked with dogs, cats, obviously the normal, horses, love working with horses. I've worked with turtles, dolphins, snakes, pretty much. I'm trying to think of any animal I haven't really worked with. I've worked in zoos. I can help with everything when it comes to pets. And I can help with their allergies, diet, and just all kinds of things. So I want to talk about this because myself too, I started seeing all these correlation when it came to people's pets, and how it affects the pet is how we actually affect the pet. And so a lot of our health issues and stuff, which I'll be going over today's show, is actually coming from us, and they are the healers. So number one, I want to talk about the food too for all animals. When I actually started the first dog bakery, many of you guys watching here too might know too, because coming from Florida here, I started the first dog bakery called Dudley's Dog Bakery back in, ages ago, 1999. I think it was the first dog bakery in Southwest Florida. I franchised it out. I had many locations. And I learned a lot about that. I had so much fun in my dog bakery. But I remember the first dog coming in, and I just all of a sudden got really sick at my stomach. And this is back when I was like pushing my gifts to the side. I was like a closet psychic at the time. I wouldn't really share with a lot of people, especially being a business owner. When it came to this, I'm like, I'm not going to tell somebody I'm a pet psychic, right? I wasn't comfortable with my gifts then. So I would just feel this stuff coming up from my stomach. And the dog, I remember telling the owner, I'm like, you got to get this dog checked out. I'm just, I started like kind of putting it in a way that I wasn't getting this intuitively. Thank God the lady went and got the dog checked out. It was a golden retriever. I'll never forget this. And it ended up being, I ended up saving the dog's life because she came back a week later and she's like, I am so happy that you told me this. I went and got my dog's stomach checked out, blah, blah, blah. long story short, I had cancer, stomach cancer, but we got enough time and we saved it. So I started realizing at that time, I was like, oh my God, this is helping, animals. And I would just see things in my mind just as I do a normal person. I see it, feel it, hear it. It's like this video gone off of me. And it's just so easy for me to connect to pets. And so doing readings, I've been doing readings on pets for over 20 years. Dogs, cats, I'm telling you everything, horses. And I remember doing this cat reading, and it had diverticulitis. And for those of you that do not know what diverticulitis is, it's something that humans get. It's actually in their digestive system, and it's where they have little pockets that get infected and they have diarrhea, and certain food will also make diverticulitis even worse. So I remember I'm like, how does a cat have diverticulitis? Like, this is just the weirdest thing. Like, I started seeing these repetitive things in my cat and dog readings, whether it be diverticulitis, and then it was diabetes, and then it was thyroid issues. And I'm like, diabetes. I'm like, how does a dog get diabetes? This is the most stupidest thing, because think of it. They have dog food and it doesn't really have a lot of sugar. And so I started seeing these correlations, and me being a regular person, psychic and health intuitive and a medium, I started probably even after a year, I started being like, okay, there has to be something more to this. Because, I'm picking up, the cat has diverticulitis or the dog has diabetes, and that's what I'm getting intuitively. And I was always right on. Like, they would take them to the vet, and the dog has diabetes. So I started diving into this deeper. When somebody would come to me, I'm like, do you mind if I tap into your body too? And, they'd be like, sure, tap into me. Like, tell me how healthy I am. I'm like, you have diverticulitis too. And they're like, oh yeah. And I'm like, you have diabetes too? And they're like, yeah. And I remember being on the radio. This was years ago. I was on a national radio station here in Florida. And this caller calls in and they tell me their cat has diabetes so bad. And I remember just tapping into the energy of the cat and just being like, oh my God, this diabetes is off the chart. How am I going to help this cat, And you might hear my dogs right now too, Owen. So I tapped into the cat. I'm talking to the owner on the phone. I don't need, to connect to a pet. All I need is a name or a picture. That's why I told you guys to do it here. And I can tell you all kinds of stuff. And of course my dog now is barking. And Owen's a yapper. So anyways, I remember going in there, and the owner of the cat is like, oh yeah, I have diabetes. My husband has diabetes. My mother lives with me. They have diabetes. And I'm just like, yeah, well, it's a no-brainer. This cat has diabetes. So I want to share with all of you. I've been doing this for over 20 years, and it amazes me. And this is when I started realizing how much our pets take on our stuff. Energy is energy, and pets are unconditional love. And no matter if they're a horse outside, they don't have to be living inside for them to pick up your stuff. Every single animal will pick up your stuff in one way or another. And if there's more people in your house, is what I started seeing, is that there's one pet that will heal a person. So for instance, if you have a child and that dog is really connected to that child, or that dog's really connected to you, they're going to take on more of your stuff or that person's stuff than they are. And they're always taking on the stuff of people that really need the healing itself. And so it's a sponge. So that animal is actually this energy sponge that's soaking in all that energy and healing that person. And the other cool thing that I started realizing, oh wait, now I can yell here loud at my own dog, sorry. The other thing I started realizing too with this is not only are they the sponge of helping that, and we've all heard the saying that, older people get a dog or get a cat, get a pet for an animal and it heals them. It really does heal them, because it's healing them in so many different ways. It's not necessarily just the love and companionship. It's actually taking on their stuff. And so all of you right now, just thinking and looking around in your house, because we all love our pets. We all adore our pets. And your pet's not going to take on all your stuff. So some of their things is their own issues. But I'm going to say 80% of my pet readings is always taking on from their owners. And so that being said, it's from the person that needs it the most. So is what happens, and is what's really cool I started seeing in my readings and healings, is that dog that's taking on that thyroid issue. And I 99.9% guarantee, if you have a dog that has a thyroid issue, or a cat that has a thyroid issue, or if they have diabetes or diverticulitis, they're taking on your stuff. It's not their stuff. But the cool thing is, not only are they taking on your stuff, you may not show symptoms. They might literally, seriously be healing you. They might literally be taking this on and healing you for it. The other thing, you know, I see a lot of food allergies when it comes to animals. And the food allergy is the same thing with the people. Whoever they're hanging out with, you know, whoever they're living with, then if you are allergic to something, that dog's taking on that energy. I remember having my dog bakery, and all of you guys can relate to this, I'm sure. I had so much fun with my dog bakery. And those of you, you can check it out. It was Dudley's Dog Bakery. I was actually in Ripley's Believe It or Not, the book. It was pretty famous. And I am bringing back in the bakery. We're called Sam and Stella's. Now we're having my dog, Stella, which is my Great Dane, which many of you have seen. She's a deaf Great Dane. So we are bringing that dog bakery back, but not as it was. I did a lot of stuff. We'll have cupcakes. We'll have all natural treats. I'm helping my daughter launch this. So it will be soon on my website. And can't wait to get that up to running, so letting you know. But when I had my dog bakery, it was also a pet boutique, and people would come in and they looked just like their dog. Anybody right now think of that? Like, oh my God, I look like my dog. I'm hoping that Stella's very elegant. My Great Dane, I was looking at her and I'm like, oh no, what do I look like? She's a goof. I'm a goof though too. So I can see us being related. But I started seeing this, not only do they look alike, the same energy. You know, that lazy person has that lazy dog. That's, you know, everybody that has labs, you know, like they're very active. They're nonstop, and their owners would have those active, you know, the owner would be active too. So I started seeing that, wow, pets resemble you. It's crazy, like how your personality, but not only your personality, I want everybody to be aware of, they are taking on your health. If you are stressed, they're going to pick it up. You know, we all know when, especially right now with what's going on here energetically, it's hitting the pets too in a big global level too. So being aware of that too. So being, aware that your pets are taking on your stuff, and they may take on a little bit of yours, a little bit of, you know, your daughter's, a little bit of your husband's, but whoever has the most issues or needs the biggest healing is who they're usually taking on the stuff from. I remember walking up to a horse. I work with horses, love work with horses. I can really shift the balance and pain and all of that. And I'll talk about that here in a minute too, on how to work with the energy to get balance going in all animals and health and overall wellness. But I remember walking to this barn, a stable. I do a lot of horse barns and stuff. And this was in Florida. In this stable, there was three or four horses. I remember the three. There was three horses. None of the owners were there whatsoever at all. They were hiring me to come in and work on some horses. I also do energy healing on horses. And so the first horse I walked right up to, and I was just like, oh my God, whoever is the owner of this horse has tons of allergies, is not very healthy. And I could just tapping into the horse's energy. And the person that is in charge, she told me, oh my God, actually a 17-year-old owns this horse, and no, her health is horrible and she has horrible allergies. And I'm like, of course she does. And the next horse I walked up to had its back out. I'm like, oh my God, its back out is right at this spot. And the owner was literally walking up. It was a woman. And I said, I bet you, I didn't tell her anything. I just said, I bet you your back is out right here. And she's like, yeah, how do you know? And I'm like, because your horse's back is out. And then the next horse I walked up to was, oh my God, it was just this gorgeous, I'll still never forget. And this was many years ago. It was this gorgeous regal horse, just beautiful, like amazing, most beautiful horse I've ever seen. And it had the energy of just like, look at me, I'm all that, I'm beautiful, I'm a stallion, you know. And I said, well, whoever has this horse is totally in beauty and very intelligent and loves to show off as their pride. And it was a plastic surgeon that owned that horse. And I'm like, of course it's a plastic surgeon that owned that horse. And so doing all of these readings for all of these years, it amazes me. Still to this day, I just am like in all over, wow, these pets are so amazing. They're here to heal us. They're natural healings, just like children do the same, but pets are like sponges. So I want you to realize that your pet is like a sponge picking up all your stuff. So now going into me doing pet healings and readings and everything. So when I do a reading, all I need, like I said, maybe I'll do some right here. Let's see here. We have Moxie. You know what? I'll pull in some here so you guys can understand my readings here. When I do a reading, all I need is a picture of the pet And yes, you guys posted some here. I guess you can post on my other page because I didn't know I could pull this up, but I'm pulling it up right now. And I can feel and see and sense immediately what they're allergic to, what they're feeling, if there's any pain in their body, you know, any allergies. And I will tell you right now too, especially when I have my dog bakery, food I started realizing is really, really big in their diet of all animals, okay? But I started realizing the food with dogs specifically. If you have a dog itching, like itching its ears, digging at its paws, trying to like get stuff out, most likely it's a food allergy, most likely. It could also be a lot of other allergies in factor too, like environment and food. But I started seeing this where they're, especially if it's in their ears and you keep on getting, you know, the ears healthy and then they just get the ears itchy again, it's a food allergy. So change the food. And one of the things that I see over and over repetitive in my readings is, I'm not going to say all animals, but something happened about 10 years ago where I started seeing a lot of dogs being allergic to chicken. And chicken is not only chicken, it's bird. So it's turkey, it's pheasant, it's duck. Even my dog is allergic to so many things. And I have a feeling it's what they, because I actually started seeing this many years ago when I had my dog bakery actually. I think it's just what the chicken, you know, what they're eating now. It's pretty scary. And so you got to also know this is also changing that food, but it's also in their treats. And the thing about chicken is, and corn's the other big thing I see a lot of animals that are allergic to. They'll change the chicken. They'll put it in. This is what really upsets me. Dog food. You got to look on the back and you got to look at every single ingredient because it could say it's bird free, but it's not. They'll have like chicken fill, or if they have like it's just a protein like pork, there will still be chicken fill in there. So you got to make sure you do that. And if your dog is allergic to chicken, the most likely it's all bird. It's turkey, it's pheasant, duck. So really being selective of that. And just by changing their diet, and this is one of my things, of course, I'm not downing vets. I love vets. But I will tap right in their energy and tell you immediately what they're allergic to. And a lot of the food, you know, a lot of the food that vets give, science diet, is, you know, people will be like, oh, my dog's on science diet. I'm just going to tell you, most of that science diet stuff is crap. It is, you know, vets are vets. Food makers are food makers. Everybody has their specialty. And so I'm not dogging any vets whatsoever at all. But just being aware if it's not working for you, and that's the other thing. If you keep on giving your dog the same food, and especially whether it's me telling you or a vet telling you and it's not working, then obviously it's not working. Just because somebody tells you that, it's not working. So listening to your animal, that's a big thing to know, is the food is everything. This is also in horses. I just worked on this horse. I think Lori might be on here. No, Lori's not on here. Lori, so I work on a lot of horses. Fox Lee, love Fox Lee Farms, giving them a big plug here in Florida. I do a lot of work there. And my friend's horse was having actually issues, kidney issues, was peeing all the time. Stanley, I love Stanley. Was peeing all the time. Just all these issues were happening with this horse. And like the vet couldn't do it. Like everybody couldn't kind of like understand like why it kept on doing this. And I'm like, it cannot have alpha at all. So they actually lowered the alpha. They were still giving them alpha. And I'm like, no alpha whatsoever at all. And that solved the problem. And so it's really important to listen to the foods. The food and digestive system is the most important thing. When you're starting food out, the other thing to do is keep alternating it, especially if you get a puppy. Keep alternating it like every 2 to 3 months, slowly. So when you alternate food, you want to put a little bit of the old food in there. Another great trick is yogurt. Putting plain yogurt on the food too is great because it has acidophilus in it, which is really good for dogs. And that will also help the diet of it. If your dog is throwing up, I feel I need to share all this information here. If your dog is throwing up or has that yellow stuff, everybody knows that yellow bile stuff, most likely it's the food. So by changing the diet, my readings, if you reach out to me for a reading, I will tell you and know exactly what your dog is allergic to. There's also a lot of grains that I've been seeing. So grain-free is another thing that is really good. I love Natural Balance. I even use really good dog food. I have a Great Dane, and I probably spend $300 a month on dog food, but good food is really, really important. So knowing that and listening to the body symptoms. If the body is itchy, if it's, like I said, throwing up or not going to the bathroom, like it should be, it's the food. When it comes to cats, I see this a lot in cats too. Cats will, a lot of cats actually are very toxic, to like tuna and shrimp and maybe just getting a little bit too much with that. The one thing I love about cats, cats are very, my cat people out there will totally get this. They're very picky and they do what they want to do when they want to do it, right? That's a cat's attitude. And so if a cat's not eating its food, there's a reason. Dogs can be intuitive too. I'm just going to tell you, but dogs are usually like, oh, food, let's just eat it. Like, whatever. Cats are like, no, that doesn't make my tummy feel good. I'm not going to eat that. So if this is your cat, then that's another big thing. I also want to finish off with dog food too, is dog food. The dry dog food is a must to help with the teeth. And you could put a little bit of soft in there. One of my favorite things and one of my best sellers when I had my dog bakery was called Dream Coat. Halo, it's called Halo purely for pet. It's called Dream Coat. You put it on their food, and not only does it boost up their immune system, it cuts the shedding by 90%. I'm talking like big time. That's when I was in Florida, I had 5 dogs. I had 5 kids and 5 dogs. I guess 5 is my lucky number. I look back and I'm like, I don't know how I did it, but I did. And I remember my cleaning lady came and she was like, I can't believe like there's no fur in your house. Like what is up? And it was the Halo Pet. And it's called Dream Coat. And if you start using it, probably about 2 to 3 weeks, or maybe even like within a week, you're going to start noticing a difference in their fur, and their coat's going to become real shiny and healthy. But you'll notice that difference of them not shedding. After 2 to 3 weeks, then if you go off of it, you're also going to notice. So it's really an amazing supplement to add to. Just like us, we need oil. If your dog or cat has some kind of health issue, you got to check you out too. Okay, so making sure. I just went the other day and saw this adorable dog. He had some hip stuff going on, and he had some back. He had sciatica nerve. The first thing I tapped into him, and this is the other thing that my readings can help with, she thought he was loving, and she thought like, oh my God, it's time, for him to go. And I'm like, no, he's not ready to go. And I will also feel in my body if they're in pain. I'll know if the pet's in pain. Obviously, if they're in pain, that's a whole different story. But the great thing is too, and I love to teach and share with people how to do energy healings, because you can actually remove that pain too by doing energy healings. I have my school starting back up to Magical University. So I will be doing my pet course on how to read them and work with their energy, because it's really important. It's so easy to do. So when I worked on this dog, and the biggest thing too, immediately I just got sciatica nerve, and the dog was a bigger, cute dog, Labradoodle. And it could not, all of a sudden she's like, it was just in pain and like couldn't walk. And I'm like, yeah, I'm getting sciatic nerve. There's a lot of fear in here. It was very bloated. The owner was constipated. Like it was marrying everything of the owner. And I'm like, the owner also had sciatic nerve in the past. And so making sure that the thing is, when you do healings, or when I do a reading or a healing on the dog or on the cat or on the horse or on whatever it is yes, I can heal it. Sorry, okay. Yes, I can heal it, but it will come back eventually if you do not heal yourself. So this is where it's really important for the whole family to come in and do a healing themselves and really working on yourself. Because when you work on yourself, then you're going to work on your pet, and they're not going to keep on taking on and absorbing your stuff there. Okay, I'm going to do some pet readings here because I see all you guys lighting me up here. Oh, Maddie's cute. Okay, so Maddie. So let's go to Maddie. So just by seeing Maddie, there's no questions here, which is fine because I'm just tapping into Maddie. Maddie is super psychic, super intuitive, and I love this. So all animals, I want to talk about this too, maybe in the medium. When they are sitting there, a dog is sitting there barking at nothing, it's not nothing. Or they're sitting there looking at you weird, and you're like, why is my dog looking at me weird? And like, or I'll see, because I'll even know, even in my pet readings, I'll be like, oh yeah, I see your dog seeing your mom. When like your dog stands up and like goes running or looks around a certain way or does this or that, that's your mom. It's following, So dogs, all animals are very spiritual. I wish we would be more like them. Like, it's just so easy. Like, they go where good energy is, right? They go sit and lay where good energy is. And that's another thing. If your dog or your cat does not want to go in a certain room in your house, you might want to clear that room. There's some bad juju going on there, okay? So being really like, wow, okay, listening to my dog and cat, they're so smart, so intuitive. But when I look at Maddie here, Maddie sees spirits big time. I see a woman and man. I think it's a grandma and grandpa around you, Natalie, that so sweet. And Maddie just wants to be said, like, I love you, you're adorable, just all this love. I just see all this love that Maddie wants and needs, and loves beef. I see a lot of beef. So beef food for sure. I have Gracie here. Oh wait, Gracie is Reese. Reese's the dog. I'm cracking up because not only did this lady Gracie put the dog's Reese as her first name. She has a last name too. Of course she does. She has his last name of the same of the person. So Reese's eyes are going a little bit. I want to talk about that too. Eyes are not seen as clearly as used to. Very intuitive, and that's the thing. If dogs' eyesight's not as popular as it's not as important as other things factors into their life. So you know that. I mean, of course, you don't want them running the walls, but knowing that their other receptors will be bigger, so they'll start smelling more. Just like my dog Stella is a Great Dane, and she's totally deaf, and her nose gets her in trouble so much because her nose is on like steroids. She can smell. She's eaten my turkey out of my oven. She can open up my oven, eat my turkey from Thanksgiving. Like, she just smells everything and anything. Because she doesn't hear. So if one of their senses go, the other sense is going to be really radiating and be on steroids. And so with Reese, I want to call her Reese, I just feel her eyesight kind of feels back and forth. She also feels a little hormonal. So with her being hormonal, I'd have you check out, Gracie, your hormones, because she's kind of taken on that hormonal stuff too. I see this a lot in horses too. Horses, especially, horses can go through a lot of hormone stuff. And so there again, working on your own body. When I work on horses, I go in there and energetically I'll clear them, helps with everything, balance, everything, performance, everything. That's why I work with a lot of horses that do performance, right? The other thing is horses can pick up your fear. I mean, all animals pick up your fear. As you know, like dogs, you're like, don't fear them. No, don't. And this is all animals. This is why when I go to do a horse reading, I remember doing this crazy huge horse. It just came from Ireland, and the owner, she's like, do not, like, be very careful with the horse. The horse just kicked the crap out of the vet. And she's like, I can't believe, she's like watching me. She's like, I can't believe you're going right up to this horse and hasn't done anything. I can take a wild horse and I can get it sleeping, like just really calm and peaceful within a couple minutes, because my energy is going into this animal calm and peaceful. And I get this all the time, like people's dogs that are like bite everybody all the time. They're like, they love you. I'm like, of course they do, because I'm not in fear and I'm here to heal and I have the intention of healing. So they're always picking up your energy and your vibes. So if you're somebody that is scared of being bit, well, you might bring a dog to you that's going to be bit. You might bite you. So knowing that they're always picking up your vibe and always picking up your energy is so important. So horses, if you're a horse rider, all of you probably have experienced this sometime if you are a horse rider. Maybe you've been bucked off and you might have some fear. I worked on this horse that was performance, that was a jumper, a hunter jumper, and all of a sudden the girl, she's probably about 14, and something happened to her, and just the performance of the horse just went to crap. And I told her to begin with not to buy this horse. I just did not see them meshing. And this is the biggest thing, is if you don't mesh with your animal, you can't like make it mesh. You can't make it vibe. And she tried to make it mesh. She didn't listen to me, tried to make it mesh. And of course she only had the horse for like a month because it wasn't going to mesh. And I told her, you're not going to mesh. She started fearing it. And of course, so the horse would just stop right before the jump, wouldn't jump over it. And I'm like, because you're fearing jumping over with the horse. And she's like, yeah, I am. And I'm like, well, your horse is picking all of that up. So knowing, like, when you go to adopt a dog or go to get an animal, you can't force that connection. It has to be an immediate connection from the very beginning. Especially an animal, if you try to force anything on an animal, it's going to go the opposite way. And the other thing I love about all animals, you can't lie to an animal. Like, they are so intuitive. They're going to pick up everything. Like, you cannot lie to an animal. Faith is a rescue. She has a pre-debut but in rescue very sweet. How can I satisfy her drive without letting her harm love? Oh, I love this question. I'm going to answer this question. Okay, so Shelly asks, Faith is a rescue. She has a prey drive, but is otherwise very sweet. How can I satisfy her drive without letting her harm wild critters that come into our yard? Love this. This reminds me of the question that somebody hired me to come and help their dog not bark. Yeah, not happening. Okay, animals are animals. It's like me trying, Shelly, to say, you know what, I'm going to teach you not to talk up. You're like, I'm a speaker, I talk, I can't, like. So when it comes to Faith, I see her loving to chase, and I see her, she kind of reminds me of a cat, because I could see her like killing something and bringing it to you and saying, hey, look, mom, look what I did. And she wants that like pat on her back, like, look what I did for you. You're not going to be able to. She's a dog. It's their instinct, Unfortunately, my Great Dane ate a chicken, like broke down a fence and got a whole chicken. And I can't like keep a chicken from her. Like, she loves chicken. And so you just got to know, like, dogs are dogs, animals are animals. And that's why, people say like, oh, you can trust my dog and blah, blah, blah. And yes, you can trust everything, just like people. But when you're achy and you don't feel good, and that's another thing too, if a dog goes to bite you or a cat goes to bite you, most likely they're in pain, especially if you're going to that area. And I'll see like where their energy, they're like, oh, don't touch me here, like, ow. So knowing that there's an issue there, it's not like they're vicious. They're saying like, don't come near me, I'm in pain. And so you can work on that pain. And that's what I love to share and teach with people, how to work with energy to clear the pain in the animal. Just like people, we have all this stuck energy in us. And the other great thing after an energy healing is the animal will be nice and calm. And I've worked on horses that were just like all over the place. I remember working on a horse. It was so sad. Its jaw was literally broke. This was again in Florida. It's broke, and is what I saw, because I also work with a lot of rescues. I'll see what their past life was, who was around them, what was there. I also can see pets in spirit, and I also help a lot of missing pets too. So for you, those of you that know that have missing pets, I can, and I'll know like immediately when I see their picture if they're dead or alive, or if they're coming back, or if they're not coming back. So, or where around what area they're in. And I found actually to some days, exactly when I said some pets are going to come back, they come back. But anyways, I remember working with this horse, and this is how powerful energy healings are, and how powerful working with energy is. Not only for people, when I do my energy healings for people, cancer disappears, health improves, like everything. So it's the same thing with a pet. This horse, this lady adopted this horse, and she had like 18 horses. She adopted this horse, and she could not get it near around it. Nobody could go around this horse. It would just buck and be crazy, and nobody. And I looked at it and I'm like, oh my God, poor horse. It had a broken jaw, and this is a horrible story, but I feel like the person before that abused it, which anybody here that abuses animals, I would love for you to be tied up and people abuse you. I don't get that. That is the most evil, horrible thing in your life, and you're going to have bad karma coming back to you. I'm just going to tell you that right now. So especially like a horse that's not doing anything to you. I just don't get that. So that horse was sitting there, and I feel it was actually broken jaw from somebody hammering it or doing something to the jaw. It was the saddest thing. And the jaw was to the side, so you could tell like there was something up with the jaw. So I started working with the horse for an hour. It took me like probably a little bit over an hour to get the jaw. And the cool thing is, when I'm doing energy healings on horses, and I have some old videos that you can watch, or even when you're working on your own animal, horses will start blowing. They'll also fart. That's not always a good way, but they pass gases. Also, pets too, dogs do this also. And so after I worked with energy of clearing, it was pretty cool. You watch the horse's jaw go back and forth. It started like really working and releasing this. So it took me probably about an hour and a half just to work with the jaw. But finally, it was amazing. I got the jaw back just by working with energy, just by clearing the energy, soft touch, working on an energy field, clearing the energy, and I got the jaw back in place. And the horse was a whole nother horse. Like, the owner was just amazed. She's like, I can touch the horse now. I can go right up to the horse. It's not scared at all anymore. And after that too, it continued to be this amazing new horse. So when you work on an animal's energy, obviously all of us know too, when we're in pain and we feel like crap, I'm going to be cranky and I'm going to be biting at you too. So knowing that once you get that energy flowing, then, and the only way an animal has to say like, get away from me, is through barking or biting or being, you know, or walking away. So knowing that if they're doing that, there's probably some pain somewhere in their body. But the great thing is you can learn how to work with it and clear it and get it out of here. Let's see. Oh, Jenna says she recently rescued a kitten named Luna. Of course, we know Luna. I love the name Luna. I'm Vicki Luna Miller. Before I changed it to Luna, I think she is pretty special. Are my cats okay with her presence? Yeah, I see. It's pretty cool. I wish I could show people inside my mind because I see things, you know, just like as I'm doing a reading. I see one of the animals. Do you have a cat that's darker? I'm seeing black and white, Jenna, or like a darker cat. And I don't know if that's Luna or another one, but I see them all mingling, but I see another cat of yours like really checking Luna out, being like, is this one going to be like, are you part of our tribe? But I do see them all accepting them. And it's just that one cat I feel is kind of going to be testing Luna and being like, are you really a part of my, oh, Luna is a black cat. Okay, yeah, because I've seen a black one. So it's actually Luna then. So it's Luna that's going in there and being like, is this my tribe? You know, it's going to take it a little bit easy, but after I'm feeling like within a couple weeks, we'll be like a part of the whole tribe. It'll be really good. My cat Cammy. Oh, I love this question too. Okay, Heidi. My cat Cammy has licking issues and I can't figure what's causing it. This is a great one. You guys are going to be shocked about this. I see any dog or cat that licks you a lot or is always licking, okay? Licking a person, licking your skin. So Heidi, are they licking your skin? Licking you. They're licking sodium and salt, and most likely, and I'm going to say again, 99.9% here again, they need iodine. Iodine is what your thyroid needs, and most likely they need the iodine because your thyroid is out or somebody's in their house is out. I did a reading again on a lady, the same issue, had this licking cat, just could not figure out like why it wouldn't quit licking her and licking everybody. And I tapped into her energy and I'm like, your thyroid's out, you need iodine. And me being the health intuitive too, I will tell you about 80% of people are iodine efficient. Iodine is what feeds your thyroid and it gives you energy. And most of us do not have enough iodine. That's why, and especially if you're craving, any of you people here are craving salt or craving shrimp, the iodine, that's iodine. And unfortunately, our salt doesn't have iodine. We need iodine. And if you're craving that and you just can't get enough, most likely it's a thyroid issue. So if they get into, so then it's your thyroid. It's your thyroid. So Heidi, I would totally get your thyroid checked out. And or call me for a reading and I can tap into you and them and stuff too. So that's another big thing to know too. The licking is a big indicator that, whoa, they're craving something, and most likely it's yours. And back to a thyroid. If an animal has a thyroid issue, and I have an awesome vet, anybody in Fort Myers, Florida, I miss him so much. I'm in California now, but I have to dig up his name again. He was so awesome because he was also intuitive. You would sit there, watch him. I'd watch him move his fingers, and moving his fingers like this is people that can see me right now. This is like an intuition thing. I actually teach this in my classes. This is an intuition thing. And I'd watch him like come at my dog. I'd be like, because obviously I know what's wrong with my dog. And he too, I loved him because he's like, I started realizing like everybody has thyroid issues or diabetes. These dogs that have thyroid issues or diabetes, I started realizing their owners have it. And I'm like, hallelujah, I know this because it's energy. So knowing that with the licking, the iodine's huge. And so if that is big, it's a thyroid issue. If any dog or cat has a thyroid issue or diabetes or diverticulitis, somebody in the house has it and they're taking it. You actually may not even show any symptoms to it. And the cool thing I want everybody to think of, so let's say, oh my God, I have this crazy dog. I'll just tell you about Owen. Owen, my puggle, he's like 16 years old now. And I got him when he was one. He's a very expensive dog. He's a puggle. Somebody paid $2,000 for him. I would never pay $2,000 for a dog. I'm just always a rescue person. But anyways, I got him when he was a crazy, crazy dog for my daughter. I lived in Florida at the time. And I remember coming in the house and I'm like, holy moly, what am I going to do with this dog? Like he just like ran all around, just was crazy dog. And finally he calmed down, thank God. But he started having, he was fine when I first got him, probably about a week to 2 weeks into it. And I got him for my daughter at the time that was 3, which is Samantha. Oh, good question here, Heidi. I'll answer that to boldness. Okay, so I will definitely answer that here in a minute. So anyways, I get this dog, this dog. And then all of a sudden Owen starts like itching and starts doing different things. And I'm just like, what's going on? And at the time, and I was feeding him like fruit. We had strawberries. And at the time, I found out my daughter was allergic to strawberries and some other things food-wise I found out she was allergic to. And I'm like, oh, Owen's picking up my daughter's stuff, and started being the same thing. And the cool thing is, if you think about it, if I put my dogs, even Stella or any of my dogs, and I put them into your house, into your home, about 2 to 3 weeks, they're going to change their personality. They're going to change their health. They're going to change their whole energy, because now they're going to be picking up your whole stuff. So this is how energy works. This is how it's a sponge. So be thinking of that. So knowing also this is where they live, how they are. I did this horse barn. This was years ago, but I remember this horse would not go into the stall. And they're like, we are moving this horse into the stall. It won't go into the stall. Why won't it go into the stall? And that's a big factor too for horses, like what stall they're in, who they're around, knowing also the boarding facility. Boarding facility is whoever is the owner is the energy of the owner, no matter if the owner visits there or not, still the energy of the owner. So knowing that also. So I remember the horse would not go in there. And I just looked at it, I'm like, oh my God, there's a horse that's dead in here. Like it's in spirit. There's a dead horse in here in spirit. And they're like, oh yeah. And I'm like, and this dead horse is his friend. And they're like, oh yeah, he's still mourning from his friend. His friend just died like a week ago and that was his stall. And I'm like, hello? He doesn't want to go to that stall because his friend's still hanging out there. And like, no, you can't put him in that stall. So they put him in another stall and he was as happy as to be. So listening to the energy of your animal and also knowing your home's energy. Your home's energy is big, especially right now with a lot of stress. You got to clear out and de-stress your house. Same thing as sage. I did a video too. Maybe I can find it. It was pretty cool. It was the first time when I was in Florida, I saged my friends. We did her horses. I've never saged animals. I'm a big sage believer. Sage in your house clears, not only does it clear the energy, it's 99.9% kills bacteria. So I was like, I want to see what the horses do with this. I want to see like me saging horses. I sage my dogs all the time. Well, the cool thing about horses is you can watch them release all kinds of energy. And so I brought the sage in there. They immediately started, as though I was healing them. When I heal a horse, like I said, you'll see it blowing, you'll see it moving around. It's moving the stuck energy out of its body when I'm healing the horse. So the horse just started doing that with the sage. It was amazing. So I would definitely tell you to sage your home and your animals. It will help clear the energy. It's going to make you feel awesome and peaceful, because if you're crazy, your animal's going to be crazy. Okay, just telling you. If you're stressed, your animal's going to be, and I get this all the time, like, why is my dog or cat's nervous system fried? Well, you're fried, and that's why they're fried. So everybody's got to get into that alignment. So the question here, I love how she said she is licking herself to baldness. So Heidi, so that's different. So she's licking herself, not you. So that makes a difference there. So I feel it's her nervous system. Let me just tap back into her. What was her name? Let me go up here. Sorry, guys. Pause here for a minute. Okay. So it's her nerve. I'm starting to get all itchy. So I'll get the same way they get. I'm starting to get all itchy myself. So Heidi, there's a couple different things going there. I would highly suggest a reading so I could tap deeper into her right now. But first thing I'm feeling for her is food. She feels very toxic. So food is going to be a source, changing her food, and her nervous system feels like it too. And everybody know too that food can also make your nervous system wacky. It can also make your immune system wacky. So that's where I just did a reading. Oh yeah, it was on the dog the other day. And the reading, and I was like, no bird, no turkey, no chicken. And because also the immune system, the first thing I picked up on the dog too was kidney issues and liver issues. And that's going to also help the foods. The food is a major, now I'm all itchy from that cat. Sorry, Heidi. But yes, definitely. I'm feeling very toxic. So I would not do tuna, shrimp. I'm actually feeling like that toxicity, changing the food, and also the nervous system. Oh my God, I'm getting so itchy now after tapping into that animal. Okay, let me tap into another one. Okay, Heidi, hope that helps. Let me tap into another one because that, I don't like being itchy. Let's see here. Okay, so Lillian, Ava Marie, husky mix, possibly dog. Let me see here. I'm going down here too on my other thing. I know when this comes a podcast, you guys like her. What is she doing? I'm looking on both my messages. And of course, here comes my Stella. I feel, super sweet, hot, gets really hot really easily, Lillian. So definitely keep out of the heat. That's another big thing too. Some animals, the Labradoodle I did yesterday in California, it's usually not hot, but it has been hot. Heat, and I see this a lot with horses too. Just like me, I get super cranky in the heat, and animals do the same thing too. So knowing that, keeping them cool beds are really nice. Icing them down, keeping their haircut shorter. Ava Marie is super psychic too, so I would listen to Ava Marie, Lillian. So if she doesn't want to go to an area, this is another biggie. If a dog doesn't want to go to a person or growl or barks at them, would listen to them, especially for this. There's sometimes too when people are dating, and usually an indicator of your dog when you're dating. There's Stella for everybody in the background here. My deaf Great Dane. Are we coming over here to say hi? Yeah. She's 10 too. Stella's awesome. I'm still I work on her though. I'm a healer, so I work on her. And the other cool thing about her is I started working on her ears. So she's actually deaf, and I want to talk about this, about white too, about white, any white animal. If you see Stella, she is primarily white. She's supposed to have more black dots on her. And I want to tell you about Stella's story because it's pretty cool. So I got Stella. Stella's the first dog I've ever paid for. I really wanted a Great Dane, and I ended up buying Stella in Florida. And the breeder, I actually had her sister at the time. Unfortunately, when I moved, I could not bring both. I had 4 dogs at the time, and long story. Anyways, so I had Stella from the very beginning, bought her from a breeder. And I remember tapping into her, and I'm like, she's deaf. And the breeder's like, no, she's not. And I'm like, she's deaf. You can't tell a pet psychic she's not deaf. I'm like, she's deaf. And then I remember the breeder, which I'm not going to say their name, but I would never, ever buy another dog from her because she lied to me. And then I remember her saying, well, deaf dogs are very, very, sought after. I'm like, deaf dogs are not sought after. But whatever, I was just drawn to Stella, and I was meant to have Stella. I could write so many stories on Stella. Those of you that follow Stella, she also has an Instagram page right now. She's done so many things. So anyways, I get Stella, bring her home. We instantly bond. And so any animal that's primarily white that doesn't have, she's supposed to have more black. She's supposed to be Harlequin, and she doesn't. But as she's gotten older, she started getting more Harlequin dots, which I will talk about here in a minute. But any animal that has mostly white that's not supposed to be white actually has a deaf gene that goes with them. So be very careful. This means not, if the dog's supposed to be all white, that I'm not talking about that. But if you do have a white animal, even if you have like a white lab or anything like that, all white animals, whether it's a horse, dog, guinea pig, cat, doesn't matter. They're very sensitive, much more sensitive to energy. They're also going to be much more sensitive to food. You have to treat them like a baby. And before I tell you the rest of Stella's story too, I want to make sure I talk about this too, especially for all your owners here. Any animal that's walking on your floors are picking up with their pads, is that all the senses going in there is like just a sponge picking up those chemicals. So I am totally non-chemicals. I've been non-chemicals for many years, and I will also talk about Febreze. A lot of my Febreze chemicals on the floor. First, I'm going to talk about that. Sorry, I'm going all over the place. Bleach is a no-no. Any chemicals on the floor, your animal is absorbing and going in. This is also what you wash laundry detergent. So being aware of that, because that's toxins all within their body. This is also you. If you're walking barefoot on your floor, you're taking on that. I am so anti-toxic. The other thing is Febreze. Febreze is one of the most dangerous, horrible things I've ever experienced in my life. I have done so many pet readings where cats have either almost died or gotten really, really sick from Febreze. I've had green, gooky, yellow stuff like coming out of their nose. All of those chemicals you put into the energy, into the air, your animal's breathing them in. And think about the poison that you're getting too. So knowing like all natural products is the must. That's why I do my dog bakery. All natural, everything is the best. So my story with Stella, though, I have to share this. It was a pretty crazy story. So I get Stella, we get her fixed, right? We get her spaded, and her and I have always been #1 bonded. Well, this is a really crazy story. I come home one day, and how the universe always works out. This is back when I had 5 kids. I was living at home with my ex-husband, and this is in Florida, and she's a puppy, and I come home, and I'm like, what is like hanging out of her? It was her guts. Her stitches pulled open. Her guts were outside of her. It was the most horrible, I even hate talking about it, but I'm talking about it for a reason. Horrible experience I've ever seen in my life. And first of all, I go hysterical, and I'm pulling her guts, putting her guts back up in her, and talking to my husband at the time, like, we got to get her to the vet. And it ended up being on Saturday. Long story short, we pull her in. I'm holding her guts up in her body as I'm crying hysterically in the back of my Suburban, getting her to this emergency room. And she actually died on my shoulder. She died. Like, she just went limp and died. And I started screaming, fathers and spirit and angels and everybody. I started screaming hysterically, bring her back to life. Like, just start screaming. We get there, obviously she's still alive. We get there to the emergency room, and long story short, she survives. And miracle, how the universe just opened up from the whole thing. And so probably about a month later, this is a great story. I'm going to an acupuncture. I started having severe stomach issues. She's 10, so I was young, still young. So I remember going to the acupuncture, and on your ears are really, I studied Chinese medicine for many years. So the ears are the most sensitive things there are, and it will show you different things by different looks. I was getting this huge mole on my ear looking thing, right where the stomach was. And I remember my acupuncturist, and she's like, I think you have stomach cancer. And I was just like, something, I was like intuitively, I'm tapped into it. I'm like, what is this? And I'm like, oh my God, I healed Stella. And this is what I do, healings for everybody. I take on your shit, and I got to get it out of me, right? Like, this is what I've been doing for over 20 years. When I heal people, I actually take it in my body and I clear it out, or I take it and shift it in the vessel to clear it out. So at that time, I was like, oh my God, just Stella flashed in my head. And I was like, I took on her stuff. I have to clear this out now. And this is how usually the pets take on our stuff, right? I took on her stuff and I healed her, and that's when she came back to life. And it was and I ended up healing my stomach. Long story short, obviously I'm still here and I'm fine. And I ended up being like, wow, I get this now. So I healed myself. So being really amazed on how energy gets transformed is so amazing. But the cool thing too about Stella, I started realizing as a healer, I started working on this dog that also couldn't hear. She's like, it's not hearing out the right ear. I mean, first thing I tapped into it, I'm like, yeah, it's not hearing. I started working on it energetically. And that day I got it hearing within like maybe 10, 15 minutes just by working with the energy. This is how important working with energy is. When you remove stuck energy, you can open it up. Also, the dog started seeing and the hearing. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to work on this on my Great Dane. So I went home and I started working on Stella's ears. One is totally deaf. She'll never ever hear. But the interesting thing, as her getting older, she started getting these spots. Now she's starting to get in the black spots, where I told you before that all white animals have a deaf gene. So she started hearing more in her right ear. So it was pretty interesting, the correlation. I saw that because now she's 10. And so I started working on her ear, and I started like healing her ear, and it was just a nightmare because she actually did start hearing. And imagine going your whole life for 8 years not hearing. And now all of a sudden you hear, you're like, whoa. I remember the first noise, it freaked her out, and she was all over the place. And I'm just like, okay, we're just going to leave you not hearing, because she's happy. She makes herself away not hearing. And so knowing that, we all, however we are, people have known, like, you have that headache forever, you just get used to it, right? You're just like, oh yeah, this is my life. You don't know that you don't have anything till you don't have it. So this is a big thing for dogs or cats that can't see or hear or taste. But working with their energy, you can heal it and you can clear it. And it's amazing. I was just telling somebody the other day, there's this 25-year-old cat, 25, it's the oldest cat I've ever seen living. It was on death's doors. I do an in-person healing. I'm like, oh, I'll try. I don't know what I can do with this cat, but I'll try. I felt so bad for it. Like, it could barely see, it could barely hear. Like, I was looking at it going, I don't know what I can do. Oh my God, it's still living. It's 27 years old. I worked on it maybe a half an hour. Half an hour. It cleared all the stuck energy. She was just like, I can't believe this cat's energy. I'm like, I can't believe it's still living at 27. So my whole point with all this is it's really important to work with their energy on all levels. So you can work, and you can all learn. Every single person can learn to work with energy. I've been a pet healer for over 20 years. Love to share with you and share with you. But even yourself, just listen to your intuition and tap in. Your animal is always communicating to you. It's always talking to you. It's talking to you through the sound, through the voice, through sound, through barking. I love the question earlier where somebody asked me about, how can you make them not do animals? Yeah, it's their instinct. You can't, it's just like, I remember this person asked me, like, how can you make my dog not bark? I'm like, you can't not make it bark. And that's their voice. That's what they're doing. I've been dealing with Owen's barking for God, 14 years. It drives me insane. But what am I going to do? Like, you can't do it. It's like their barking is like, hey, I'm protecting you. Somebody's here. Like, or it's warning you of something. So knowing that is, you can do the barking collars, you can do things like that. But knowing that, animals are animals, and we're lucky we get to have them in our lives. But it doesn't mean that we can change them. And the other question that I get asked all the time too is, can you make, my dog doesn't like other dogs, or my dog doesn't like people. I see this all the time too. So if a dog, just like people, just like we are, some people are very outgoing and love other people and very social, and some people are not. And you can't make a dog love other people, or you can't make a dog love other dogs, A lot of times too, if a dog doesn't love other dogs, there is either some pain going on in their body again, especially if, like I said, and that animal or that dog or that person comes into their energy field, especially for those dogs that are very, very sensitive. If you have a dog that's lighter in color, it's going to be much more sensitive. So that means its energy field is way out. It is radiating way out. It can also be very sensitive hearing. And if you guys here have the dogs that go, or cats that go running underneath the bed, that's because they're like safe. I want to talk about that too really fast before the top of the show here, is cages and crates. There's a lot of, people are like, oh, I can't crate my dog. Crating your dog is the best gift you can give your dog. And this is the reason why. I want you to think about you going into a brand new home that is 20,000 square feet big. You've never been in this home, and it has really high ceilings. If anybody's been in a house that big, you can feel the energy. You're just like, whoa, where do I go? I don't feel safe. I don't feel comfy. Like, where is my little hibernation place? We all love caves. We all love the energy of feeling we're protected and safe. And so a crate is like the dog's home. It's like its little bedroom. It's a safe haven. It's the place that I get to go and I get to chill and I feel safe. And so it's not a bad thing. It's a thing that makes them feel safe. When they get older, this is why it's really important, and those of you that do crate train, you will see this. As they get older, Stella used to have a crate, big ass crate. Like, my kids could fit in there. It was so big. She's 150 pounds, but it was so big. And after she got older, she started not going in her crate. But even in the very beginning, she would literally go in her crate because that's their bedroom. So as they get older, you can open the door up and you can let them go in and out that crate. If you are crate training as a puppy, of course, bring things in there. Don't start with bad habits. This is one of my pet peeves. I remember walking into this house doing this pet reading with this Chihuahua. And I will tell you, little dogs have the biggest egos. I've been bit, when I had my dog bakery, I've been bit more by like Chihuahuas and little dogs than I do big. And it's so funny because then the big dogs think they're little dogs. Like, Stella thinks she's a lap dog and can sit on me. I'm just always crack up. So a lot of people with little dogs, what do? They bring them into their beds, they bring them into the couch, they bring them into all their different places. That's a big no-no. And the reason why, because now they think they're your alpha. Now they think they're your boss. And I remember walking in, and this little teeny tiny Chihuahua, like maybe 5 pounds, is sitting there growling at the owner. And it's like in the middle of the bed, and it's like not letting the owner in the bed. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, really? You're going to let this little teeny tiny Chihuahua keep you out of your bed? And I know probably some of you are like, oh yeah, I do that. Or you'll like, oh, I'll move so my dog is comfortable. Okay, so it's what you're establishing. So first of all, this little teeny tiny Chihuahua is growling at them, being mean, would bite them if they try to move it. No, you pick that dog up and you put it on the floor and you say, I am the owner, I am the master. This is really important because when they start taking ownership, now they're your owner. You do not want that by any dog, especially a big dog, but even the little dogs, because now they think that you're theirs, not the other way around. You always have to be the boss. So if this is you and you need to break the habit, and it always cracks me up because actually animals train us. It's not the other way around. Same thing as kids. They train us. And so we have to stay. We have to be repetitive. Yes, it may seem mean, but this is about you being the master, and that's what they want. Dogs and cats want an owner. They want a master. They want that ownership. And so it's really important to do that. When it comes to dog training, I also will see this, people be like, oh, can you have, I'm like, it's not your dog, it's you. You need to train you. You need to follow through. You need to do things. My dogs have the worst manners. I will tell you right now. My Great Dane, oh my God, that's what I'm saying. I could tell you stories. If you saw my fridge, I have to kid-proof my fridge because she can open the fridge and open the freezer and open the oven and open everything. And I have to kid-proof it because she can do it. So so I have to do that. But I know because she's needy. She's a Great Dane. She's deaf. And I can only yell at her so much. She's not going to listen. So being aware that you are the one that needs to be trained, not necessarily the animal. So if you do take your puppy to get trained, if you do take your dog to get trained, you need to make sure that you're following through when you get home and you're doing what the owner does. And you also need to be the person in charge. I have only like 1 minute here. Let me just do one more reading here. So anybody wants to reach out to me, I love my pets. I love being voices. And I'm also doing a new thing for pets. I'm doing just a simple, easy reading, voice reading too, where you just send your pet at a very reasonable price. It's only $75. I also do half-an-hour readings. I also am doing here locally. I love coming to pets. I work on pets, but I also can heal them energetically without them even being in person. But I do love coming to there and working with them. And I love teaching. So I will be doing a pet teaching how to do reading and healing your pets, because I really want to get people out there to heal their pets and listen to their pets and communicate to your pets, because your pets are always talking to you. Animals are amazing. If we can learn so much from animals, not just from domesticated animals, all animals. This is all animals in nature. They go where there's good energy. They do what their body tells them to do. So look at your animal and be like, ooh, my pet, I got to learn from my pet. That kicks backs from promoting Hills products. Yes, Galit says that's whatever. I'm not even gonna go there with them. Let's see here. We have also. Can you hear Stella now? She's whining. Oh, I love this question, Tiffany. My cat, Charleston, vomits after he eats sometimes. I think he eats too fast. Yes, this can also happen about if an animal, especially the bigger dogs, don't eat so fast, then they will also, throw up. But Tiffany, I feel it's the food. And I also, this is another great thing too. I want to make sure up high, especially cats. And dogs. I have a Great Dane, so I have the feeder up high. Think about it. I want you to think about you guys eating and just like bending down to the ground and eating. It's going to screw up your digestive system. So raising the platform up, and a lot of cats, I remember doing this cat reading that she thought she was a queen. The cat's like, I'm a queen and I want to eat like a queen. And she just wanted the cat bowl up higher, and then she started eating. So that also helps too. This last question too. Stephanie, her white cat, she's also super sensitive to being brushed. Yes, so white any animals, not only are they super sensitive to food, to environment, to all of that, their energy field is so far out that they pick up things. So even when you go to maybe pet them, I'm not going to say all white animals, but a lot of them are. When you go to pet them, they're like, they're very shocking because they can feel your hand coming to you 10 feet away, where a normal dog or cat can't feel it, or horse. Horses are the same. White horses too are the same too, and they can get burned. Everybody knows that, white animals, they do. I haven't, since my dog Bakery, I used to do sunscreen for pets, but they do have sunscreen for pets. Another thing too is fly spray. I just want to say all those horse lovers out there. I had this horse actually die from fly spray. Fly spray is toxic and evil. This horse would go into sneezing fits all the time and everything. And I told them, I said, he's allergic to the fly spray. Do not use fly spray. I don't know what bad chemicals are in there, but try to always use everything chemical free. Just like us, our skin is our largest organ, and the paws, hooves, whatever you are down there. This is the most. This is where we have the most pores, even within humans. You want to use essence oils? It's on your feet. This is where we absorb everything in. Stella's done. Okay, this is my top of my show. Looking forward to being the voice for your guys' pets. Anybody, just make sure you go to my website, VickiEmanuel.com, soon VickiMiller.com. And I will see you guys next Wednesday on my Talk Live show here. Reach out to me. Love to chat to you. Everybody have a magical day.